In this lesson, we are going to look at the Bootstrap Grid. Now the grid, it enables us to arrange our content into different columns, just like the way we looked at the CSS Flexbox. But with Bootstrap, you can either arrange your contents either in equal columns or an equal number of columns. So to begin with, let's create a new HTML file. Create a new HTML file. So let's call this lesson 3. Press enter. So this one I can call this Bootstrap Grid System. Press enter. So I can create a H1 with tab. So you can type, we can even copy this heading, this title, and paste it there. You can do a horizontal ruler HR. So let's start by adding our Bootstrap files. So what we'll do, I'll go to my lesson 2. I can copy these 4 lines as they are, though I only need bootstrap.css and bootstrap.js. But if any of the others are there, there is no harm, so I can just have them. I right click, copy, I go to my lesson 3, below title, I paste those files there. So the first thing that we are going to look at, we are going to have a container. So I can have these items in body in a container, so I can cut this. So I can type .container, hit tab and enter. We paste our items there. So we have our HR. So the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to create a row. We are going to create a row, and it is in this row where we are going to have our columns. So with Bootstrap, one row usually has 12 columns. And these 12 columns is equivalent to 100% width. So meaning that if you want to have 3 columns of equal size, then your columns will be divided into 4, 4, 4, because it will be 12 columns divided by 3 sections, which will be 4. So also we have different column sizes. We have what we call SM. That's what you're going to implement, because this works from the smallest device onwards up to the wider screen devices. We have what we call MD. MD usually works with medium devices onwards, and then you also have LG that works with larger widescreen devices onwards. So we are going to use SM so that a very smart tiny phone can be able to work with it. So we are going to create our first row. So we create a div class called row. So to create a class called row, we just say .row. So Bootstrap recognizes rows. So if you tab and enter, now we are going to have our columns. So we are going to start with 2 columns, then we move to 3 columns, then we can move now to an equal number of columns and see how it works. So in our first, we're going to have 2 columns. So I'm going to use SM. So I'll say .col -SM -6 times 2. So it is going to create 2 divs of SM6 type, and they'll be multiplied by 2 to make it 12. So you tab, so you can see now we have div class is equals to SM6. So that red line you see, you press enter, just move your pointer or click inside the first div. So in that first SM6, we can have something. We can have maybe a paragraph of lorem times 3. So we tab, so we can come and justify it. You can say TJ, And then in this call SM6, maybe we can have the same. I copy, then I paste here. So if we run our page, because it's a new file, we run this page, so you can see that your items have been arranged excuse me, in 2 columns of equal size. So let's now look at the next one. We create another row, this time for it to have 3 columns. So you click immediately after the second last div that marks the end of that row, press enter. I'll create a dot row again, you tab and enter. So in this row we are going to have 3 columns of equal size. So to have 3 columns of equal size, it will be 12 divided by 3, which will give us 4. So we'll say dot call dash sm dash 4 times 3. So you tab. So it is going to create 3 divs of call sm4 each. So press enter. I click up here, you press enter again. So let's say in this call sm4 we can have, first call sm4 can have a paragraph, the second one can have an image, the other one can have a paragraph. So let's say we can have a paragraph of lorem times, let's say we can work with times 2. Let's work with lorem times 2, and we justify tj. And then the second call sm4 will have an image there. The third call sm4 we can have the same, can copy that and paste it there. So here I'm going to have images. So as usual, we are going to create a folder called images. So right click on your project, new directory, so call it images. So that's from our previous lesson. You remember what I said about pictures, CSS and so on. So I'm going to fetch a photo. I'll fetch a photo. I have one photo on the desktop here. I can pick this one, I copy, come here, I paste it in my images folder. Then this one, maybe you can call it img1, press enter. So in this call sm4 now we can have an image, so we'll say img source, that will be images / img1 alt, this one I can call it picture1, or you can use any name of your choice. Then we'll give it a width of 100% and a height, let's give it a height of, let's use that height. So we come and refresh our page. So you can see now we have our picture. So let's stretch it a little bit down to something like 200. So we come and refresh our page there. Oh, so let's make it to 230. Refresh. Yeah, so now we have our paragraph, a paragraph, an image, a paragraph. So even if you resize, they'll still be responsive, so everything will fit automatically on its own. So there we are. So before this row, we can collapse that. Before this row, we can have a HR there, so that we can split our rows horizontally. Yeah, that now looks better. That looks better. There we are. So this time I want us to work with an equal number of columns. Let's say, for example, you can have one column of call SM5, call SM7, call SM4, call SM8, call SM3, call SM6, call SM3, etc. Provided that they add up to 12. Those figures must add up to 12. So let me work with one case. Let's say, for example, I want us to have call SM5 and call SM7 because 5 plus 7 should give us 12. So what we'll do, after that row, go to your second last div, press enter, you can do a HR. So let's create another row, dot row, new tab and enter. So in this row, we are going to have two columns of an equal size. So we can say dot call dash sm dash 5. Then down here we can have dot call dash sm dash 7. You tab and enter. So in my call sm5, maybe we can have another image. Let me pick a HD image photo this time, and even pick this one. I right click, I copy, I come to my project, in my images folder, I paste. So I can call this pick 2. So in my call SM5, now we can have an image img. So the source, that should be images slash pick 2 alt. This one I can call this picture 2. So we'll give it a width of 100% and a height of, let's say, 300. Then in my call SM7, we can have a paragraph. We can have a paragraph of lorem times 5 maybe, or let's use times 7. So we tab and then we give it a class TJ, text justify. So we come and refresh our page here, and you can see your call SM5 and your call SM7. So I can enlarge the height of that image a little bit. Let's use a height of 500, slightly long, 450, and yeah, that's reasonable. So if I resize my page, you can see that your image and your content, they are fitting automatically. So basically that is how the grid system works, where you can arrange your content in different columns. It can either be equal columns or it could be an equal number of columns. So on your own, you can try to work with as many different column types as possible. Otherwise, thank you very much and see you.